Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Tarnation TV production. Live commentary of the race tonight provided by the Flat Out Racing Network. Here we are in season number 68. And as we roll through this, things just keep getting crazier and crazier. It's super tight on points. We've got a cool new chase setup we're going to talk about again this week, which is new to this season. Super cool, super awesome, all that good stuff. My name is Blaine Donlan, joined as always by Kyle Matthews and Mr. Seth Cole.
And as you say, Blaine, things are just getting crazier and crazier. How about tonight we throw in the first night of the bracket challenge as well, where 32 drivers are going to go head-to-head in a tournament-style bracket that will last from here till the last race of the season. Kyle, just as if these drivers didn't need one more thing that they have to think about.
Yeah, there's trying to win the race. There's trying to get as many points as they can to try to make the playoffs. There's worrying about where they are in the standings, and now they got the bracket challenge to worry about too. All of this on a super speedway where you're racing three wide basically the whole time.
And a season so far where we have had 4 completed races and 4 different drivers have gone to victory lane. Most recently, Denny Carroll, along with Tim Nofsker, Grant Wesley, and Kelly Causey. Will a 5th driver add their name to that list here tonight? I've been mentioning the last couple of weeks, as Blaine said, that there's a new chase format, a new season format. I've been mentioning that this is a season where we're going to be having 9 regular season races. Scrap all that, forget what I said. It's actually 10 regular season races and 5 playoff races. So by the end of tonight, we will be officially halfway through the regular season and that run for the championship. But again, points super close. Another full 40-car field here tonight. We mentioned about a number of drivers that have struggled in these first few races of the season. As a matter of fact, last week's winner, Denny Carroll, had to race his way in on time that week and went to victory lane, jumping him up above that third in the standings cut line. Do we see a driver maybe mid-pack in the point standings again be able to do what Denny Carroll did 1 week ago, get that decisive victory they need to keep their playoff hopes alive?
As competitive as this series is, it wouldn't surprise me the least bit. I mean, every single driver in the field is capable of pulling off such a feat, so I could totally see it happening again tonight.
66 laps for these drivers to have to traverse around this 2.66 mile super speedway. So far, Chevrolet's had a bit of a stranglehold on the checkered flags. So the only non-Chevrolet to go to victory lane is Grant Wesley. He was driving a Dodge that night. He's actually back in that same NOS Energy Dodge here this evening. 4 drivers looking to be a repeat winner on the season. And you kind of go back and you look at these 4 races completed so far, Kyle. The first and the 4th race was a lot about trying to avoid the wrecks when and if they happen. The 2nd and 3rd race were really all about execution on pit road, long green flag runs. So I guess we could kind of call this the rubber match between those 2 types of races. Now halfway through the season, it'll be kind of interesting to see what the trend is here and if it will remain going forward in the home stretch of the regular season.
If I was any of these drivers, I would totally focus on pit stops. I would try to bank on that. I mean, you really can't bank on a race going mostly green or being, full of cautions. I mean, it's funny. Like we mentioned, we run the same track every week, same drivers every single week, same mod, same setup. I mean, everything is the same. You name it, it's the same, but we never get the same race. So, yeah. But something that has been pretty consistent over, not just this season, but throughout last season as well, is pit road has been a big deal in these races. They've played a big part in it. We've seen drivers make mistakes, costly mistakes on pit road, and if I was out there with them, that's what I would be focusing on right now.
Well, these drivers are now gridding up on pit road. They'll be following behind the pace car here momentarily, and this is the way that they will file off of pit lane. Mike Mangialardi going to get himself the pole position in the random qualifying draw here tonight. Comes into this race 27th in the point standings. Obviously would like to win, but also would like a good points night to get him away from that 30th in the standings cut line. A driver that comes into this race below said cut line, 37th in the points, will start alongside of him in Tim Anderson. You'll see a gap right there. Blaine Donald's got to teach us his qualifying secret because his car's apparently netted the 3rd spot here tonight.
Good lap.
Yeah, absolutely good lap. And he'll be alongside of Garland Oaks, number 67, making his first start of the season. Row 3 is going to be Ulysses Sandoval alongside of Randy Waugh.
Luigi.
Pat McCarsky and Javier Negron. They'll be row 4 with your 10 completed by Brian Schilling, who, oh, by the way, is the defending Bracket Challenge champion, and John Godfrey. Doug Kulik, Rodney Summons, they're back in row 6. Defending 2-time series champion Chuck McClure will roll off from the 13th spot alongside of Billy Elliser. Row 8 with Greg Lovell and Glenn Harris. Donnie Garrett makes up row 9 with Mark Pagley, and your top 20 completed with Michael Norman and Josh Metallic. Jeremy Jeffries is back in row 11 alongside of Bernie Mobbs. Row 12, Rod Weston and Robert Breedlove. Row 13 will be Greg Palmer and last week's winner, Denny Carroll. Row 14, Bob Seminara, Graham McDonald. A couple of former winners on the season will complete your top 30, Grant Wesley and Tim Nofsker. Ken Roberts is back in row 16 alongside of Jason Scheck. Row 17, another of our former winners, Kelly Causey, joined by Joe DeSpirito. Row 18 will find Robert Spring and Bobby Farrell. Row 19 will be Richard Martin, Craig Hagley, and completing the rest of your 40-car field here tonight, Jeff Cravello, Sean Turner, and Cody Lamas. You'll see the inside row and the outside row move a position. Up towards the front will be the inside row. Towards mid-pack it'll be the outside row, filling in the broadcaster vacated spots here, but they will be 40 cars strong, getting ready to reach the halfway point here of season 68 of the Talladega Challenge Series. Pretty democratic top 3 there with a Ford, a Chevrolet, and a Toyota. The highest, I believe that is a Jeep. It might be a Dodge, but I think it's a Jeep there of Pat McCarsky in the 197. Looks like a Jeep grill at least. It might be a Dodge, and my mind might be playing tricks on me there. Looks like the highest of the Dodges, they're going to be Randy Waugh on the outside of row number 3.
Is there an actual Jeep body for this mod?
There is.
Wow.
You name it, there's probably a body for it here with this mod. Well, here we go. Mike Mangialardi, Anderson, ready to get race number 5 of the season under the green flag. First race of the Bracket Challenge as well here tonight. Who will advance?
You talk about the templates for these things. I've stumbled across like Lotus, Bentley. You can find anything for main cup.
Yep. I think I've seen a Renault. I think I've even seen, the Bluebird buses. I've seen that version of a template for this mod.
Wow.
Mangialardi's going to move up in front of Ulysses Sandoval. 2 on the inside line. We're able to get clear of the outside lane through the first couple of corners. Tim Anderson will now slot side by side for 3rd with McCarsky. Might be a slight issue here on the start for Jeremy Jeffries. I noticed him go all the way up to the outside line when we took the green flag. Grant Wesley and others picked him up off of turn 2, but I don't know if that was by design, him dropping to the back to just ride around, or if maybe he ended up losing a gear on the initial start. That'll be something to kind of keep an eye on as the race progresses.
I saw him back there. He is still within the pack. He's toward the rear of the field, but he is in the draft right there back here, the General Lee this week. So yeah, going to be interesting to try to keep an eye on the 0-1 here tonight on these restarts, see if there really is a problem or if he just went back there on his own.
He was able to find a fellow Dodge and Grant Wesley. Jeremy was mid-pack on the start of this race, rolled off from the D1st position as Mike Mangialardi will make his way down, and he will complete yet another lap. Bonus points we talk about for leading just a single lap as well as leading the most laps going to be so important when we eventually make our way towards playoff season. Of course, drivers that are inside of the top 12 in the point standings, regardless if they've gone to victory lane or not, they know that at the end of race 10, they will battle for a championship, as well as any wild card drivers.
And Brian Schilling making a move here. He's got getting help from... Can't tell who that is behind him, right? But
John Godfrey looks like in the 7-Eleven.
Randy Waugh saw him coming. He jumps down in front of him. He's going to lead that inside line now.
Yeah, we saw Brian Schilling debut that Kyle Busch tribute paint scheme last week. Ulysses Sandoval up ahead, also in a tribute scheme, and another new scheme here tonight, paying tribute to the life and legacy of KB. A few cars behind Brian Schilling, that red, white, and blue M&M's tribute throwback with Rodney Sellens behind the wheel.
Good looking car there on the 38. I always liked those patriotic M&M schemes that they had for not only Kyle Busch, but Elliott Sadler and Ken Schrader over the years. So it's a good looking car. I think David Gilliland had one when he was in the 38 as well.
I think you're correct, yep. You mentioned about Schilling going down there to the bottom. More drivers noticed the momentum that 4 was carrying. Randy Waugh,
Luigi
jumping down there, as well as Tim Anderson. Anderson's alongside Ulysses Sandoval for the second spot. Got a third line forming there as well. Rod Weston, Graham McDonald up top there. About a half dozen drivers trying to make something happen. Back around, looks like the 16th position.
Now, a couple guys going to that outside line right there. Josh Metallic, it's like Tim Nosker right behind him, and now Mark Pagula going to lead that outside line.
When Ulysses Sandoval was almost able to get to the left rear quarter panel of Mike Mangialardi in a bid for the race lead. Mangialardi will go down to cover. And now you see a couple of the Wrecking Ball teammates there. Garland Oaks and Javier Negron stuck in the middle. I think Sandoval saw that third line coming, got to the bottom as quickly as he could. That luxury was not afforded to the 67 and the 40, as now they find themselves with very little help in that second lane.
Yeah, that middle line's kind of dissolved right there. Pretty lonely feeling having like one or two people in there, but a couple cars behind them there in the middle as well. Maybe they can catch up to them and give them some help, push them back up.
Mark Paglia now going to shade to the middle, was leading that third line. Like he'll stay in front of Garland Oaks. So it'll be Josh Metallic now leading that extreme outside line. Metallic, great start to the season for him. 2 top 5s, 2 tops in these first 4 races. Currently sits third in the overall standings, 8 points out of the points lead.
Schilling again, jumping to the inside. Bottom line's got some momentum right there. Schilling is now going to be alongside Sandoval for second. Might be going for the race lead by the time we get to the front stretch.
Pretty even numbers right here. 4 versus 4 with that bit of a gap back to Doug Hulick and Mark Paglia, who are side by side for 9th. They'll now draft up, and we'll see with the pack now reeling in these 2 specific groups of 4 where the momentum will be.
Just told there was a wreck. No caution.
Got Metallic around.
Robert Breedlove as well in the 91.
Multi-car wreck and no caution. That is surprising. Unless it happened on the apron.
This might have spun down into the grass or something here. Yeah, looks like maybe an bump off the corner by Tim Nosker to Josh Metallic sends him across the nose of Robert Breedlove, and by time they spin back up onto the racing surface, specifically the 39, there's no oncoming traffic, so yeah, no yellow flag. And one would have to wonder, I just was wondering about Tim Nosker having that bump to Metallic. He's now coming down pit road to serve a pass-through, taking responsibility for the incident that did not bring out the yellow.
It's a tough break for everybody involved right there with not getting a yellow flag.
I mentioned Metallic third in points. Nosker came into this race the points leader. That's a costly pass-through for him as well. I guess the only saving grace is it didn't really look like Metallic got all that much damage. Same for Robert Breedlove. They may be able to stay on the lead lap and catch a caution at the right time. It's early on in the race where you can mount a comeback from early adversity. It's when it's later on in the race that incidents like that really can kill your chances of a good finish. Like the top four going to be single file.
Richard Martin gonna
side by side.
Richard Martin gonna lead an outside line there. Got Ken Roberts and Grant Wesley, and I believe that's Michael Norman behind him, along with Joe DeSpirito, causing quite a few others.
New playoff format, new race format this season. Back when they changed the playoff format and went from five playoff races with 3 rounds to 6 playoff races with 3 rounds. Richard Martin ended up winning the championship in the debut of that system. Didn't go to victory lane a single time that season, but relied on consistent finishes to net himself the championship.
It's interesting that we found out today that there's going to be one more regular season race. That could be good news and bad news for others, just seeing how this thing might play out.
Of course, as well, no more rounds in the playoffs.
Oh, Randy!
What a save! No, they're going to wreck. Oh, he had it saved, but there was just too much momentum lost. Massive, massive wreck in the center of 3 and 4. Grant Wesley was in the middle of that. Garland Oaks, Richard Martin, Kelly Causey, Jason Scheck, Graham McDonald. Last week's winner, Denny Carroll, might have gotten swept up in that, along with Javi Negron, Bobby Farrell, Rod Weston, Billy Elliser, and a bunch more.
There's a lot of damage to the back of Richard Martin there, the 43 car. And on the side as well.
Well, we saw that as it happened, just that accordion effect as you're having to lift off for the car in front of you going into turn 3. Richard Martin had just made a move from the middle to the inside line, and the checkup in front of him just got him to the back of the 21.
Check up right in front of him. It caused the 43 to get into him right there, and Richard Martin was running in the 7th position, so right toward the front of the field. A lot of cars got swept up in this.
And I really thought they were going to save it, but as Randy's trying to save the race car, in the process of doing so, that car is probably going 5 miles per hour slower than the drivers behind him. And as the communication through the field that there's a driver in trouble up ahead, takes that slow process of getting to the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th car in line. We obviously saw the result of the stack up, the bumper grab, and there's some pretty good damage as well in the front end of Grant Wesley's machine. This Med Cup 2019 mod, one of the great features about it is you're able to get a pretty decisive look of if somebody's got damage or not. And Grant's got that front hood pretty well crinkled. Yeah, one of the former winners in this caution. Big break for 3 drivers in particular. Metallic, Breedlove, who were in that spin off of turn 4, Knopfsker, who had to serve the pass-through. They all stayed on the lead lap.
Couple cars, it's like 3 cars staying out right there. Bob Simonero is going to get a bonus point for leading that lap. It's got what number is that behind him? That Hot Wheels car is out of 134 or
136.
136, and I think that's Pat McCarskey right behind him. So not sure if they're just this is pit strategy, or are they just they're going to pit next time by and just wanted to try to get a bonus point. But
I think for Seminare, I think this is pit strategy. Likes to get that bonus point when he's able to. He started the race from the 28th position, so he didn't have the benefit of good starting track position from the get-go. And he's coming into this race 9th in the point standings. It's really interesting when you look at the point standings coming into this race. You know, at least everybody up inside of the top 10, even inside of the top 15 of the point standings has netted a top 10 this season. Bob Seminara, no top 5s, no top 10s, but he's 9th in points. So you think that a 12th, 13th, 14th consistent finish every week doesn't mean anything? It does, because that's what Bob Seminara has been able to do. He may not be flashy in the stats, but he's up there in a playoff spot right now.
I think stage points might have a lot to do with that too. You see a lot of these guys, thinking about that. We get toward the halfway point. I think it's lap 33. They give out points to the top 10. There, I'm sure he's been up there in the mix, getting a good number of stage points to be up there and to be up there that high in the standings as well.
We got to remember too to thank our sponsor as always. Will remain anonymous. Oh yeah, thank you for the anonymous donation sponsoring season 68 in its entirety. So that's always super cool that people dig what we do enough to cover the entire thing and don't even want to put their name on it. So in memory of our Rolling Thunder Gaming drivers and our fallen military veterans.
Had Al Sullins in our chat asking if there was
you
issues
got
on his end or on our end on the broadcast.
Yeah, I apologize. That was my end. I was getting major frame drops. I'm watching it like a hawk right now. It seems to have stabilized. I don't know what was going on, but I rebooted the game and it seemed to have fixed it. Sometimes I think something's running twice. I don't know what's going on there, but it seems to have stabilized now. But yeah, it was very choppy for the first 7 or 8 laps. High-speed internet being not so high speed. Why, I do not know.
And
but
Michael
it
just
fixed itself now.
Michael just told me that it was Kyle Busch messing with your frame rates.
That, you know what? Yeah, the ghost of Kyle Busch. Yep. Wouldn't be the first time there's been phantoms in here. Gremlins, apparitions, messing with stuff. It's funny too, because I was thinking, it feels like a good night. We're gonna have a good night. Well rested, go racing, and then bang, there goes my
Kyle
latency.
Busch actually was actually in a race back in 2020 on Flat Out Racing Network. Seth, you got to talk to him after that race, which was really awesome.
One of the highlights for me and means a lot more as of now, obviously. But, yep.
How wild is that, though, man? Major
was an
league.
event I never expected to happen. Even in the moment when he won the race, did not expect that I'd get the opportunity to be able to interview a former Cup Series champion. Incredible.
Yeah, because you would think former Cup Series champion jumps into an iRacing race, okay, it's racing simulator. These guys use this. We know they do. But then to win the race and actually hang around and wait for his interview, he did not need to do that. That is so cool that he did, though. That is so cool. Just another dude hanging out.
It looks like all 40 drivers took a green flag to start this race. They will take the green flag to restart here tonight at completion of lap 14 on to 15, all on the lead lap. Certainly jury's going to be out as to the drivers involved in that massive wreck in 3 and 4 as to who's going to be up to speed, who will be able to remain in the draft, and who will be able to make forward progress once again.
I got a text message from Jeffrey Elliott's wife today. A little bit of an update on his health situation. It doesn't look good, but they're heading in for radiation and chemo treatment. So just wanted to shout out Jeffrey Elliott, man, because Tarnation TV would not be as polished as it is today if he didn't let Brian Wolf and myself use and abuse Talladega Nights. That racing league let us do what we did and hone this thing into what it has become. And I think it's been almost 5 years, maybe even more now since we started it, but man, Talladega Nights put us to work. We did lots of broadcasts for them, and there was a lot of issues trying to get a broadcast going with all the fail-safes in place. But yeah, thinking about you, Jeff. Thanks for keeping in touch. He deleted his Facebook account, I believe, but his wife, Ginny, can get a hold of me still on the Facebook machine, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so definitely sending our well wishes to Jeffrey Elliott. It was always fun to watch him racing here in the Talladega Challenge Series as well. Always seemed to be one of those guys he didn't want to ride. He hated riding. If there was an open lane, he would jump up to it and try and see if he could recruit others to help take himself and them to the front of the field.
He was a sorcerer when it came to fuel management. I've seen him run down on the apron And you're like, that's not going to do nothing. And then literally will run out of gas 200 feet shy of the line, you know, not having pit as many times as everybody else, and say, how do you do that? Like, some of these guys know how to conserve fuel, and it boggles my mind. I'm pedal to the metal all day.
Rodney Sullivan's made a big move that last time around, coming to the start-finish line, took Ulysses Sandoval 3 wide, and it's paid dividends. He's now got that Kyle Busch tribute scheme out in front. Brought Randy Waugh,
Luigi,
along with him, and Roberts, Donnie Garrett. You see, defending 2-time series champion over the last course of the 2 seasons, Chuck McClure leading the inside line. Mentioned about the fact that this is the first night of the Bracket Challenge Championship. Normally, it would be on race number 4 in previous seasons, but with the extra race added on to the schedule this season, it rolls over here to race number 5. And some really good matchups here this evening, which is all double elimination. We need to remind everybody that those that get eliminated here tonight, they are not eliminated from the Bracket Challenge overall. They'll fall down to the loser's side of the bracket, which will continue to run the entirety of the season. But your matchups are based off of where the top 32 are in the point standings at the conclusion of last week. So Tim Knopfsker is taking on Rod Weston tonight. Jeremy Jeffries facing off against Cody Lamas. Brian Schilling, the defending Bracket Challenge champion, going up against Greg Lovell. Ken Roberts is facing Bobby Farrell. Joe DeSpirito against Doug Hulick. Mark Paglia taking on Javier Negron. Michael Norman versus Donnie Garrett.
Boy.
Oh, my.
Chuck McClure. Boy, that was an amazing save right there. I don't know what happened there. I don't know.
Speed wobble?
28 got into the back of him right there, but man, he got out of shape big time. Did a great job of keeping it together.
Could have been costly there for Chuck. And his Bracket Challenge matchup. Got Ulysses Sandoval taking on race leader. Right now, Rodney Sullins. Grant Wesley against Bernie Mobbs. Dennis McCarthy against Craig Hagley. Richard Martin, Mike Mangialardi. Bob Seminara, against last week's winner, Denny Carroll. Josh Metallic versus Billy Elliser. Greg Palmer against Graham McDonald. You just mentioned about that great save for Chuck McClure, as he's versing Robert Breedlove, and Kelly Causey taking on Glenn Harris here tonight. And interesting, if you go back one season in the Bracket Challenge Championship, Grant Wesley came in as the number 1 seed, Brian Schilling came in as the number 2 seed, and they faced off against each other in the final 3 matchups of the year. Brian Schilling emerging victorious over Grant Wesley.
I think Schilling's won it a couple of times, hasn't he?
He has. I want to say he ended up in it the season prior as well. I think he's a back-to-back champion in the Bracket Challenge. Not an easy thing to win either. It's literally over the course of the season, every single race. One bad finish could end your chances. It's all about consistency. Brian Schilling, we've seen how he's able to be consistent in the super speedways. I remember a season ago, well, not a season ago, but a couple seasons ago, he ended up finishing top 10 in every single regular season race. And then we jinxed him. He ended up not finishing top 10 in the first playoff race.
Still an impressive feat nonetheless, Raider. That is to have any kind of consistency at a super speedway series. I mean, a lot has to happen for that.
So I was just double checking the rear of the field. It looks like a lot of the drivers that were involved in that wreck are still up to speed, and they are still in the lead pack, including the 88 of Grant Wesley. So despite all the contact we saw, the damage sustained by the drivers in that corner wreck in the middle of 3 and 4, it looks like everybody is still at this point in time competitive. So that is definitely good to see.
Another car that's looks like doesn't have any problems that we were wondering about from the initial start. Jeremy Jeffries right up there inside the top 10 or just outside of it. 7th position last time we just lap around.
Talk a lot about Schilling too. I noticed on the Rolling Thunder Gaming website there, they had their all-star races. So you had the Super Speedway all-star race, and then you also had the Speedway all-star race. Schilling won the Speedway All-Star race, and Ken Roberts won the Super Speedway All-Star race. So, talk about winning stuff. You got to win some
Speedway
stuff to get into
All-Star
the
race
All-Star race, and then to actually win the thing, too, ain't going to be an easy feat.
That Speedway All-Star race was crazy, too. You kind of almost wish it had been for points. Jeff Supta ended up blowing a tire in turn 2 on the final lap while leading. I think Grant was second at the time and ran out of fuel coming off turn 4. Brian Schilling's tires and fuel lasted to get him to the start-finish line. I think he didn't even have enough fuel in the car for a burnout, so it literally came down to the bitter end on who had saved enough fuel to get themselves to the checkered flag. But it's Brian Schilling and fuel saving. Are we surprised?
What were they running
Not
on
at all.
a track? Michigan? Or?
I want to say it was Iowa.
Oh, wow, okay.
It was the first time I think they'd actually run a short track for the Speedway All-Star race.
Ulysses Sandoval making a move. Got Jeremy Jeffries and Chuck McClure right behind him, leading that inside line.
Field looks rather broken up. I don't want to say disorganized, but you have a bit of a gap from Donnie Garrett on that outside line all the way back to Tim Nofsker. You've got a gap from Greg Lovell on the inside line back to Brian Schilling. There's not a super whole lot of organization where these drivers are gridlocked. It's almost kind of like a zigzag pattern here with this entire field.
Well, this could get interesting. We are 9 laps away from lap 33 when they give out the stage points. And I was just told that most of the field they've got about 9 laps projected on fuel.
That sounds about right. We went back green, completion of lap 14 on to 15. And we know these guys can, on average, get about 18 to 19 laps. So, yeah, that's right on the number to be able to potentially make it to the halfway point. I think it's safe to say for Rodney Sullins, he'd probably be one of the drivers that would have to pit before the stage points are handed out, since he's been the lead car here since the restart.
That's an interesting situation, too, because remember, we're at Talladega, so the start and finish line is after the pits completely, unlike every other track where the line's right down the middle of pit road. So, do we see people gambling?
That's what I was wanting to know, though.
Running out of gas? Could be cool. Could be pretty cool. Because you would have to stay out.
Gamble. You could also see the timing of drivers coming to the road be a couple laps sooner than they would actually plan to, just to try and leapfrog everybody if everybody can't make it.
I apologize for the connection.
There were those 3 cars that stayed out under that first caution: Seminara, Makarsky, and that Hot Wheels car. I'm drawing a blank on the name there. Yes. If they stayed out an extra lap, and if this thing goes green, this could play into their hands, at least in terms of getting a good number of stage points.
Yeah, to your point, it looks like those 3 that you mentioned, as well as Garland Oaks, Graham McDonald, Craig Hagley, and Cody Lamas, all came down and topped off the fuel tank at the 1 to green prior to the restarts. That'd be some of those ones that you're looking for. If they had enough to make it, they could potentially be those drivers. As you're seeing, Sullins, Roberts, Sandoval make their way down to the inside line. I think saw the chat light up. I don't know what was put in the chat. I don't know what the indicator was, but we might have somebody heading. No, it was actually Grant Wesley letting the field know that he is damaged. Oh, he's got contingency of 3 drivers behind him, and it looks like now he has lost the draft. Craig Hagley, Greg Palmer, Pat Makarsky back here with him.
Yeah, you mentioned you got a good amount of front end damage in that wreck, and it's definitely slowing him down right now.
Grant very much in the conversation for the points lead, trying to win the overall championship here for the regular season, with the new playoff format would give you 5 bonus points going into the playoffs. Race winners get 3 bonus points for every victory they get during the course of the regular season as well. So there is definitely still something on the line to finish P1 in the overall standings. The conclusion of the regular season can help you have a pretty favorable high seed once the playoff grid is put together.
Is there any extra for winning a stage?
I do not believe that is, no. You just get the 10 points per race for winning the stage. Stage wins do not carry any bonus points over into the playoffs. You see we're on the 30th lap of this race. Completion, let's remember, of lap 33 is when the stage points are given out. So coming to the start of lap 34, driver's going to have to make it that far on what got in the tank if they're going to be able to net some valuable stage points here. And I'm not rightly certain that they're going to be able to make it, because we've seen drivers even try and make it onto pit road and miss, or try and go an extra lap to be able to gain track position and run out of fuel halfway around on that lap. So it's a huge gamble here. Are you willing to risk stage points and potentially maybe throw away a chance at the overall victory tonight?
That is a very long way around if you run out of fuel.
And a very long tow, if you call for a tow truck.
Yeah, radios lighting up. Gonna have at least 3 this time. Robert Breedlove, Richard Martin, Graham McDonald have indicated they're coming to pit road. Doug Kulik in the 23 as well. Let's see if any of our race leaders are gonna follow them down also. Looks like they will not. Kulik gonna be the highest driver in the field making the dive to pit lane. Oh, and Richard Martin. Wow, nice save there.
They got it straightened
Seeing
out.
Graham McDonald making a little contact on entry.
Something got to keep an eye on. We've seen pit road entry be so treacherous over the last couple of weeks.
It's not wide enough. That's the problem.
Don't tell John that.
Don't tell John that. You're going to pave the whole thing. We'll still run out of room.
This time around, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Rodney Sullins on pit lane.
Yep.
Yep, there he goes.
And Roberts, Jeremy
Ulysses
Jeffries,
Sandoval
Josh
staying out.
Metallic. Oh, Bernie
contact.
Mobs! Gonna clip Jeff Crivello, and that's gonna blockade up the entrance to pit road. Little hit there late from the 92 of Bobby Farrell. No caution as that was off racing surface.
How far can these guys go? Lap 33, and they were right on the edge here in terms of making it.
And you need to
Sandoval
lead
Up
this
to you.
lap,
Maybe
right?
even just come to pit road this lap. Hope that you get the service done and get off of pit road, cross the start-finish line inside of the top 10.
Let's see. Here comes Sandoval. Everybody else coming.
So we're literally going to have a race off of pit road potentially for this stage victory, depending on what happens with those
Nosker
other
and Pagula.
drivers.
It's 28 and 88 get together. Looks like the 28 got the worst of that one. He had to back up entirely.
We got to keep an eye on the 096 of Ulysses Sandoval. He's going to try and lead the field off of pit road and cross the line as the leader. That's where the green and white checkered flag will be. The driver he's battling would be Rodney Sullins' Ken Roberts, who are just now making their way through 3 and 4. Oh, Seminara. Look at this gamble. I don't think he went with 2 cans of fuel. I think he went with less fuel.
And Seminara's going to lead the lap. He's going to get the 10 points. What a call by Seminara.
Nice. There comes the rest of them there. Is Rodney going over the line there now?
Well,
Getting
you
a bird's
mentioned
eye
it.
view of this.
You mentioned it. He likes to play a little bit of pit strategy, and you see it right there.
10 points for Seminara. Ulysses will get 9. Schilling with 8. 4 for Despirito. McClure finished 5th, so he'll get 6. Javier Negron will get 5. Michael Norman 4. Randy Waugh
Luigi.
get 3. And then looks like Cody Lamas, Tim Knopsker were the top 10. Rodney Sullins crossed the line in the 12th position, led a good portion of that last run, but will net no stage points at halfway.
The only issue for Seminara, he is out there by himself. They're going to catch him easily right here.
The other issue, too, is if indeed he went with, it looked like everybody went with 2 cans. He may have gone with a can and a half, so he is not going to get nearly the distance on this tank that everybody else is. If we continue to trend green, he's going to have to make a much earlier pit stop than everybody else.
Somebody's going to have to push him because there's a whole lot of room running out.
Well, maybe not. 4 wide.
We'll just go 4 wide. Yeah, that's no big deal. All in a day's work. Welcome to Rolling Thunder Gaming.
That silver number 41 of Denny Carroll. Third car on the inside line of this second pack. Of course, won last week. A lot of momentum during the course of this week as he picked up his first Bare Bones Racing Series victory this past Monday night. Grant Wesley with a lot of momentum as well. He ended up taking the checkered flag in the iRacing Series this past Tuesday night, as well as winning the Wednesday night Aero 88 Series race.
Nice.
But it does not look like Grant's going to get his third win of the week here, as that car, as we saw, was badly off the pace and had lost the lead draft.
Currently in 35th.
This top 4 here look pretty committed to one another. Here you see Rodney Sullins, Ken Roberts, Josh Metallic, Donnie Garrett. He's been running single file for the last, I don't know how many laps, and they're just, they look content right now.
I mentioned about the fact 4 races so far, 4 different drivers have gone to victory lane. You got to go all the way back to 9th position right now to find one of our former race winners in Denny Carroll. You got to go even further back than that to find another former winner, which I believe would be Tim Nofsker that we saw had that pit road scuffle with Mark Paglia. He's all the way back in 24th.
Just had a couple of issues tonight. Saw him come down pit road after contacting that first incident we had. It didn't bring out the caution. Got lucky with the first caution to get back on the lead lap, and he had the issue there on pit road.
Graham McDonald going a lap down. He's currently running in the 40th position. We had all 40 cars on the lead lap after the pit stop cycle. Graham will now fall into one of the free pass positions. A couple of other single cars further on up the road, including Billy Elliser and the next Pat McCarsky. So we will be slowly accumulating a list of drivers that would love to see a yellow flag save their race as we've traversed our way into the second half of this evening's event. One of the cool things about Rodney Sullins' heat scheme is he's got the different multicolored elements. Oh yeah, yellow flag. First or second one of the night. And this one's going to be a crucial one as Billy Elliser is going to remain on the lead lap. Graham McDonald will get the free pass. And looks like some smoke over in 3 and 4. Sean Turner I thought he might be beached there on the apron of turn 4, but now gets that car rolling.
Love the paint scheme on that 136. Nice Kyle Petty Hot Wheels throwback. Oh, Garland Oaks hit the apron and slid up into him, it looks like.
He's trying to make a move on Sean. Going into 3. Almost got into his left rear quarter panel, which I think reacted him down onto the apron. And the two of them make contact, and that's going to bring the yellow flag out.
Didn't look
Second time here tonight.
Didn't look like the 136 hit the wall that hard, so I think he'll be okay, and I think Garland will be fine as well.
That was back around the 26th position, I believe.
23 at Doug Healy did a nice job getting by that.
I'll tell you one guy that liked the yellow flag coming out. Bob Seminara, because now he can get back on the same fuel number as everybody else as they all make the dive onto pit lane, and his gamble netted him 10 stage points as well.
Rodney Sollins, did he just disappear?
Yep,
there he
now
is,
he's
yeah.
back.
That was a scare right there for the race leader, but looks like everything is good so far.
This pit stop, should everybody get their tanks completely full, it's going to have us more than likely having that final money pit stop somewhere in the range of 8 laps to go. Robert Spring going to get himself a lap-led bonus point in the 74. Probably see him as well as Cody Lamas and Craig Hagley, who stayed out, pit this next time by. Graham McDonald in that 33 was the only lap car, so he'll be back on the lead lap. And what in the world happened here? 43 of Richard Martin, it says, has been disqualified from the race. Our scoring never indicated him having a black flag. I'm not certain what it was that led to this, but going to have Richard Martin finishing dead last in this race. And this literally just happened moments ago.
Oh, he got spun out. Looks like he had to...
He tried to drive back to his pit stall.
I mean, he doesn't have a temper. I'm thinking maybe he went crazy in TeamSpeak and then they booted him. I don't think that's not like Richard,
No,
though.
I think he was
so
going
what happened
backwards.
was he tried to go backwards to get back into his stall, and he went back too far.
Oh, okay. I'm looking for it right now on a replay, so I'm sure I like to cause drama.
Oh, man, that is...
Man.
Driver freaked out and started swearing, so they disqualified him.
Gotta hate how picky this game can be sometimes in a situation like that. I mean, that is just a horrible break there.
Instantaneous DQ, too, right? And that doesn't even warn you.
Nope. Sometimes it'll warn you and disqualify you at the same time.
Right, so oh, I see. Oh, yeah, he went back like about maybe 8 or 9 pit stalls. Oh, yeah, and there he goes. Gone.
Well, that's a tough break for him, too. He came into this race 7th in the point standings, had a good, consistent season going, and everybody was still running. So he's going to finish 40th place here tonight. It's going to be a big blow in the overall standings for driver 43. You mentioned, Kyle, about the blessing and or the curse of having that extra regular season race. In the case of tonight, maybe a blessing for Richard Martin. He's got that one extra race to try and gain the points back that he would have lost with this unfortunate disqualification.
Yeah, and he did. Let's see, I don't think he was up to... He didn't get any stage points either, I don't think, so...
I don't think he did. And with that disqualification, that now already determines one of the advancees from the bracket challenge. Like Mangialardi, who started this race from the pole here tonight, will obviously finish ahead of Richard Martin, and he will advance into the second round of the bracket next week. Who he'll face, we'll have to wait and find out. It's either going to be Bob Seminara or Denny Girl. Both are still out there on the racetrack.
Forgot about the bracket. Yeah, that's more graphics for me to add to the broadcast. If I can I'll get a picture of that and put that up there next week.
Looks like the 33 is going to get free pass. Don't know if anybody else is in the running for that or not, but...
Nope, he's the only one a lap down. We'll have all 39 of our remaining competitors on the lead lap when we go back green, and Craig Hagley got himself a nice bonus point there. So we'll go to pit road and turn the race lead over to Rodney Sullins, who will be the troll car when we go back green. Looks like that restart's going to be with 24 to go, so well outside the window for these drivers to be able to make it. One more pit stop still yet to be executed.
On board with Hagley.
Graham McDonald going to go around, get his lap back. Well, I know next week outside of coming back for the Talladega Challenge Series on Thursday nights, it's going to be a rather slow week for the Flat Out Racing Network. Blaine, you got anything going on Tarnation TV next week?
Oh my goodness. Here's the schedule. So join us on Sunday. We're at the All-Star Racing League at Talladega. Saturday we're at All-Star Racing at Talladega. On Sunday we're with SMO, the annual Hawk Memorial Race at Michigan. On Tuesday we're with Maverick at Pocono. On Wednesday we're at the Cup Series at All-Star Racing at Michigan. And then back here again on Thursday.
That's a busy week.
Yeah. Some cool races in there, though. The annual Hawk Memorial Race is cool. SMO, one of their fallen members. That league's been around a long time. They always get us to do their tribute races for them. So all are invited. If you want to race at Michigan, SMO Gaming Simulations is an awesome crew. Of course, Pocono, because Maverick Cup Series follows the NASCAR schedule. And so does the ASR Cup Series. So, although they're a week behind, as you can see, they're at Michigan. That'll be a lot of fun because on Wednesdays at ASR, they do open setup cup physics. So that's, well, you guys have probably done open setup broadcasts. So much stuff to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
You can come into the pits and add half a pound of pressure to your right rear tire and take some wedge out. All kinds of neat stuff can happen. But yeah, to answer your question,
RTG
busy
drivers,
week.
they, yeah, certainly sounds like it. I know that these RTG drivers, they love having new competition, seeing some new faces racing not only here on Thursday nights, but during the course of their weekly series. They're going to be at Pocono as well, Monday night for the Barebones Racing Series. Also be at Pocono for iRacing Series on Tuesday nights, and then Super Speedway Racing next Wednesday night with the Aero 88s at the Bermuda Triangle.
Ooh. I can't remember if I've ever seen that track. I think I have.
Actually, it's a fun racetrack. Pit Road's a bit of a menace to get onto, but fun racetrack.
Raced there a number of times. Yeah, it is a very fun track.
I like tracks that have a menacing pit road. I mean, every track can't be the same, so that's the coolest thing about it all, is if you're going to create a fantasy track, it's got to be unique somehow.
Very slow restart for Donnie Garrett. I believe the 77 has no third gear. Looked like he shifted from second to fourth coming out of turn 2, and it stacked himself, Josh Metallic, and a couple of others up in that outside line, allowing Sullins back through Negron to be able to move their way by on the inside and now make their way up into that middle line.
He did. I just watched it in the replay there. You can see he went from second and then had to skip third to go to fourth. At about 150 mile an hour.
19 of Weston right there, nearly got out of shape a little bit. Him and Tim Anderson had a moment there, but
see Grant Wesley on that inside line there. So he was able to, the initial restart, stay up in the lead. We eventually saw him fade back with a trio of other drivers, lost the draft. Hard to tell. It just looks like car has no suck up right now, obviously dealing with aero damage. Rewide behind him, though, is going to help him at least stay up here in this lead group momentarily, but that's the goal right now for the 88, is to have somebody behind him, because that's his only hope of staying up in this lead pack. If he ends up getting shuffled out and there's nobody behind him, he just doesn't have enough power in the race car to stay up there, even be the trailing car of this lead group.
I got Chris Elliott in the Tarnation TV chat asking, where is everyone? Well, we simulcast on Thursday, so we share viewers. Half of them are probably on FRN and half of them are over here watching on Tarnation, so less action in the live YouTube chat.
Couple cars trying to get something going on the outside. Josh Metallic's got Michael Norman right behind him, but unfortunately for those two, that's they're the only ones up there right now. Not making any progress.
Mike Mangialara a little further back was trying to get something going on the inside line. No dice either. Most everybody, it seems here, wanting to ride in that middle groove. They know that they've got at least one more trip to pit road. There's some stack up there around that double file. Rod Weston, Denny Carroll, maybe even Bernie Mobbs involved in all that. Car's got a little squirrely through the center of the corner, but keep it pointed in the right direction. Up at the front, it's calm. Through the field, it's pandemonium. I mean, we're double wide, 3 wide back here from about 16th position on back. We got one on the apron. Glenn Harris gonna save it.
Been a lot of good saves here tonight. Let's see, Sandoval back in 24th. He's been amongst the top 5, top 10 all night, but not sure how he fell back there. You could say the same about Ryan Schilling.
Yeah, a lot of former champs in this vicinity. You mentioned Schilling, Jeremy Jeffries as well. Joe DeSpirito just up road in that 24. Everybody trying to get themselves set up for that final pit stop. Should be in the next 10 laps or so, as Bob Seminara, our stage winner here tonight, halfway point. Up top, John Godfrey with him, along with Bland Oaks, Joe DeSpirito. This is back around the 17th position, trying to make something happen in the latter half of the top 20.
Jeremy Jeffries making it 3 wide there on the bottom, getting by Grant Wesley.
Now it looks like Metallic and Norman, who were trying the outside line a couple laps earlier, now they're going to try the bottom of the racetrack.
Saw those two work there a couple of weeks ago when we saw that photo finish between Grant Wesley and Michael Norman. Metallic was the one pushing Michael up there, and it's like Michael's trying to repay the favor right now.
Yeah, they were working together last week well. Michael got swept up in a couple of incidents. Metallic was able to skirt his way through that race-ending caution to bring it home on the podium. And the driver that was in victory lane last week, just up ahead, the Silver Bullet, number 41 of Denny Carroll, making a move low. I've been noticing a few drivers up here that have been relatively under the radar tonight and are starting to make their way forward as the pay window begins to open. Bernie Mobbs and that Spectrum Carson Hocevar throwback, right now holding down the final spot inside of the top 10. Jeff Crivello just ahead of him in 9th, and Bobby Farrell in the 92 car just up ahead of these guys as well in 8th. So, you know, you talk about those drivers that are down there 15th through 25th in points, need that good points night and maybe could get themselves a win in the process. We've got about a half dozen drivers up here that fit into that category.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about restrictor plate racing or super speedway racing. And you know, there could be drivers that you never really hear about throughout the entire race, but you get down to crunch time and you look up and there they are. It's just one of the great things about this kind of racing.
Well, Rodney Sullins just crossed line to complete his 30th lap out in front. Safe to say he's going to net bonus point for most laps led here this evening. Mike Mangialardi with 14 previous laps led after he started on the pole. 3 laps led for Bob Seminara, and then 1 lap each for Ulysses Sandoval, Robert Spring, and Craig Hagley. Rodney 22nd in points coming into tonight's race. Only 1 top 5 so far in the first 4 races, and that was his only top 10 as well. It's been a struggling season. This is about the strongest we've seen that 38 here tonight. Can he close out the deal is going to be the question. He's obviously going to be more than likely the Pied Piper and determining when everybody's going to be coming to pit road, obviously getting a lot less fuel mileage, being the race leader, providing the draft for the cars behind him.
So him and Ken Roberts have been working together very nicely. I mean, he's had, Rodney's had the 55, right on his back bumper for most of this race, and they're doing a good job right now, running first and second. So, kind of curious. We get down to the last lap, and they're still running 1-2. Are they content to finish that way, or Ken Roberts try to make a move to win the race himself?
Nice recovery for a couple of drivers after earlier issues. Saw Josh Metallic back there trying to work his way to the front. Remember, he was involved in that spin off of turn 4 in the early going. The other driver that got swept up in that was the 931 of Robert Breedlove. He's up here inside of the top 5 in that Pepsi Chevrolet. So that's what we mean when we say if you're going to have trouble, have it early on in the race. So that way, if you get the caution at the right time, you got plenty of laps to be able to make that ground back up. Breedlove's been able to do just that, currently running behind Greg Lovell, just ahead of Javier Negron.
Not going to be too far away from his final pit stops right here. Looks like everybody trying to get in position for those.
Go back to the 2 previous seasons when Chuck McClure won the championship. Only had 1 win in the regular season for both season 66 and season 67. He's holding down the 3rd spot. Is tonight the night where he gets potentially that 1 regular season victory, secure himself a spot to maybe go for a 3-peat. I know there have been back-to-back champions before. I think the most recent one was Grant Wesley. I would have to go back. I'd have to ask those that might have the information if there's ever been a 3-peat winner in 3 straight seasons.
That'd be something else. If that's tough to do, especially here.
Be an extremely impressive feat if McClure could pull that off.
Now the 136 of Sean Turner get lapped. He is the only driver -1. He actually might have just made a pit stop, his final pit stop of the evening. As you're starting to see. There. Yeah, I think these are drivers. This is twofold. They're not only making a move to gain track position, but they're already making their way to the inside line in preparation for the upcoming pit stop. And they've been able to catch out Greg Lovell and Robert Breedlove in the process. We've seen a number of incidents here tonight at the entrance of pit road that have not brought out a yellow. You could do everything perfect coming to pit road, but if a driver around you, behind you, even in front of you makes a mistake, you can get swept up in it. So these drivers are going to probably be very nervous if they have to make this final pit stop under green. Going to hope that everything around them goes perfectly well for all the other drivers, and that could also play a factor into, I mean, right now we're good to make it the rest of the way. You pit this time by, take on a can of fuel, you're good to make it to the conclusion. We may end up seeing drivers pit as early as now, since the window is open.
Garland Oaks and Pat McCarskey.
They're playing the strategy that they can get the pit stop done, stay on the lead lap, catch a caution in the next 2 to 3 laps, and be able to cycle their way up to the front on what could be a final restart.
Like that Bob Dixon strategy of just go early so you're not coming down there with, 19 other cars is more, obviously there's more, of a chance of having an accident. And then yellow is probably not going to come out down there because it's off the racing line.
Plus the fact you really don't have anything to lose. If you follow them down pit road, you're probably going to follow them leaving pit road. So do something different. As here comes Chuck McClure from 3rd.
Donnie Garrett, Ryan Shillington, Nofsker, Pagula, DeSpirito.
A nice half-dozen drivers right there, all coming to pit road together. We've seen 5 or 6 cars in the pack be able to produce as much, if not more, speed as a pack of 2025 drivers. See if this strategy works out for them. I would not be surprised if we see a majority of the remainder of the field on pit road this next time by.
Honestly, I think that's the right strategy, coming down with about 5 or 6 other people instead of coming down here with about 20 others. I mean, it's as chaotic as pit road entry has been here tonight in the last couple of weeks, I would feel more comfortable doing what they were doing.
Here we go. A lot of good space being given there. And it looks like about a dozen drivers on pit road. Well, maybe a little more than that. Being led down by Rodney Sullins. Michael Norman going to stay out an extra lap. Looks like about another dozen drivers here going to go one lap further. Jeremy Jeffries, Josh Metallic, Denny Carroll, Bernie Mobbs. So far, first pack of 6 made it on safely. Second pack of about 12 to 15 made it on safely. What about this final group?
Here they come. Let's see.
Oh, pretty love into the wall. Got her straightened out, though.
Like they all made it. Now the question is, for all the drivers in those respective packs, did they get it slowed down in time? Because you get a black flag under this cycle of pit stops, your race is pretty much over.
John Godfrey currently being billed in first. After we cycle through this stuff, it'll all come back together again. 6 laps to go.
And the battle, potentially the race victory, is just now crossing the start finish line. Chuck McClure, Brian Schilling, Mark Paglia just made their way around the trio of Hiram DeGrone, Greg Lovell, and Bobby Farrell. And they're about to merge in with all the rest of these drivers coming off of pit lane on the back straightaway.
Black flag 38, Rodney Sullins.
Oh, man, the driver who has led the most laps tonight. Man.
And I believe he was going to cycle around to 8th or 9th position. That is a tough break. It looks like he's going to stay out an extra lap here. NR allots you, I believe it is 3 laps before you have to come down and serve the penalty. So right now, he is hoping that a caution comes out and he would have to serve the penalty under yellow rather than under green. There you see those final drivers that were able to make it a little bit further on fuel. Glenn Harris, Jeff Gravel, Greg Palmer, John Godfrey, Craig Hagley coming off of pit lane. And that will be the lead exchanged to Chuck McClure, the champion of the 2 previous seasons, out in front in that Darrell Waltrip throwback, and he'll be hitting the line for 5 to go this next time by.
Looks like Rodney's coming to pit road now.
Yeah, wow, man. Led 37 laps tonight and got a black flag on that last stop. That's him. Like you said, your race is done if you get a black flag on that one.
Well, let's remember, too, he didn't have anybody in front of him. He was the lead car of his pack coming onto pit lane, so really didn't have I guess you could call it a rabbit to be able to base your speed off of. May have overstepped just a least little bit. Speeding police got him.
Do you think it was speeding? What if it was an unsafe exit?
I think if it's an unsafe exit, you get a 30-second penalty. Now this would be speeding, and it looks like another driver who made one of those late pit stops, John Godfrey.
Yeah.
Also just got nailed by the speeding police. Rodney's probably going to end up finishing somewhere around 36, 37, 38, something like that. 38 drivers still running at this point, only 2 drivers out of the race. Richard Martin with the earlier issue on pit road that got him disqualified. Jason Scheck about 7 laps ago brought that main and tail throwback to pit road amid the left-hand turn to the garage. He'll finish 39th.
Ken Roberts looking to the inside here.
Oh, and the bad news continues for Rodney Sullins. Black flag did not clear on the pass-through.
Disqualified from the race. Oh, man. I was talking to him in a whisper there before we went live. He's like, I need a good run tonight because I missed last week. So he wasn't able to race last week because they were out of town. And he was having such a great run today, and now he's been disqualified with 2 laps to go. What would cause a disqualification? Maybe just speeding, trying to clear the penalty?
Trying to clear the penalty, you still speed again. Yep.
Yeah. Because like you said, if you do 3 laps, you're gone. Like if you don't serve a black within 3, it'll kick you. But he went down, and he got kicked, so yeah, he sped again. I thought you could speed again, and then you could have to go down, they'd hold you.
Well, that would be only if you ended up clearing the first initial black flag and then receiving a second one.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
But since he was still on the original black flag, and that one didn't clear, that's why he got the disqualification.
Right, okay. So if you do the same thing twice, the second time is an actual holding.
Correct. And I think one of the big things, too, which I understand the strategy, him staying out that extra lap, hoping a caution would save him, had he come to pit road, gotten the black flag not cleared, the lap after he received it, he would have had another extra lap to be able to come around, do the pass through, and get the black flag cleared. Since he had waited until the last possible lap for it to be able to be cleared under green flag conditions, that's why he ended up getting disqualified.
Oh, okay.
Now, here we go, coming to the white flag this time.
They're trying to make moves back there. Lovell, Negron, Sandoval, Roberts, they've all been darting to the inside and the outside trying to make something happen here. Going to be side by side for third is Chuck McClure, Brian Schilling watching it all happen in the rearview mirror.
Boy.
Oh,
Schilling
boy!
up. I have to say, Schilling. It's all over the back bumper. Here comes Pagula to the inside.
What happened to McClure?
McClure's in trouble. That car's slowed.
He's out of gas, maybe?
He might be. I think he's out of fuel. I think you're exactly right. And Paglia just got through all that to the race lead, and he's going to win. Is he going to win this? Lovell got a run at him. He might be out of fuel, but he's going to cross the line regardless.
Man.
Some of these guys may have gambled, maybe taken half a can instead of a full can.
How many
Didn't
times
pay off, maybe.
Wow. How many times have we've been playing this sim, well, at least I have, for over 23 years now. Got goosebumps watching that one.
Man, that was a great call by you, Blaine. I didn't even consider the fact that they were right on the number and could be running out. I think that's exactly what happened to Chuck going into turn 3.
When I saw them swallowing him up that quick, I'm like, well, he was just, these guys are, maybe they're all running out of gas now. Yeah, they started climbing on him pretty quick. And yeah. Wow.
Well, we saw a couple of weeks ago Kelly Causey snap a very lengthy winless streak and get back to victory lane. Same can be said here tonight for Mark Paglia. It has been multiple seasons since he received a checkered flag, and apparently had enough fuel to be able to cross the start finish line. I think he ran out through the tri-oval because the 880 got into the back of him, had a big run, and
I'd
somehow
like to know
he
what
held
it was
off
like,
both
what it looked
Lovell
like
and
from
Ulysses
you guys'
Sandoval.
perspective on that wreck.
It looked like looks like a lot of people. Did they gamble on taking like half a can instead of a full?
I think they did, and we caught them. And then I don't know if this was just I don't know if somebody was running out, or I don't know what was happening. But everyone slowed in front of me, and I honestly tried to just pick a lane to go through, and then it closed up so quickly. And I don't know if that who I hit, but I apologize to them for doing that. It's just, it's the last lap. You got to go for it,
Well, everybody's slowing up right there because it looked like Chuck ran out of fuel, and it was looks like the 40 is so you got into Javier Negron. And Brian Schilling, wow, he caught some air.
And let's not forget, all these drivers swept up in this incident first night of the bracket. So
yeah, and unfortunately,
there's a lot of drivers that are
see,
probably
right there,
going to
I think
be.
he went through, and then I just hit Javier. I'm looking at your perspective, and I feel bad about that. But it's the last lap, and you're going for the win, and everyone's slowing down.
Not much you can do there.
Probably gonna get called on me, so I'll probably end up being a DNQ next week. And then I got clipped again and spun around again. And then the 77 was able to get in front of me.
Goodness gracious,
we had a
Randy,
bunch of drivers further back that just came flying into the wreck in the tri-oval.
Yep, right there.
I don't think they could see through the smoke.
I don't know if they could either, but that was just, yeah.
I mean, like you mentioned, it's the last lap. Everyone's slowing down, running out of fuel. There's not much anybody can really do in that situation, if you ask me.
Well, if anybody put a bracket together, I think that caution just busted it. Wow. The unpredictability of super speedway racing. And yeah, Paglia was running out of fuel crossing the start-finish line to take the checkered flag. Doesn't even have enough fuel to do a burnout as his car is literally beached on the back straightaway apron. But they'll get an emergency vehicle out there and they'll push him to victory lane. His first victory in a long, long time. A driver that came into this race 14th in the point standings, and it's going to be a big victory for Marcus. He'll find himself now locked into the playoffs with this win, provided he stays in the top 20 in points over the course of the next 5 regular season races.
I swear, every time you think you've seen it all in this series, you're proven wrong, and that's what happened to me, at least this week, once again.
Paglia ended up winning. Greg Lovell crossed the line in second. Ulysses Sandoval in third. We're going to talk with those podium finishers now, see if we can dial up Ulysses in the 096. Hey, Ulysses, it's the guys up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
What's up?
Well, man, I know you say that you like to gamble on fuel. It looks like you weren't the only one out there that did that tonight. A lot of drivers seemingly going with the half can of fuel as opposed to the full can. We saw drivers running out of fuel going into turn 3. Looked like you were good to make it the rest of the way, but was it just 2 little cars in that pack coming off of turn 4 to be able to make a move and snipe the victory?
Well, a few minutes ago, I just realized that everybody ran out of gas around me. I myself ran out of gas when I passed the start-finish line. So you just told me everybody took the same strategy. I thought everybody, top off and it was good to go, and I was the only one who was likely to run out of gas.
Saw you play strategy as well, midway portion of this race. You and a number of drivers electing to pit on the lap where the completion would pay out stage points, ultimately cross the line in second place. Was that the strategy from the get-go based off the numbers we were told that some drivers might be able to get there just at the completion of lap 33?
It was actually an error because because Michael and I were discussing where the stage was gonna end, and we thought that the stage was gonna end after we all beat it, but turns out it ended up the stage ended early, and Michael decided to pit early just to beat everybody when we exit out of our pit box. But when I exited pit road, I checked what lap it was. It was lap 34. I said, wait a minute, the stage is over. Is it mine? It wasn't even mine because I think it was Bob who took a gamble or something, because he finished way ahead of me. He beat me at the stage. I feel pretty lucky, especially tonight. I feel real lucky because the past few, what was it, 3 weeks? I finished 30th, 40th, 20th. Finally, another top 5 after the season opener and another good stage payout. I finally get my break of the season, and I hope the break is gonna keep going the next few weeks, because every time I get a good race, the next few races are gonna be terrible. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned about those finishes you've had the last couple of weeks. Despite that, you came into tonight's race 13th in the point standings, currently in one of those playoff spots. And then with the 9 stage points here tonight, the podium finish, you'll certainly climb up through the points. Coming into tonight, had to make the amendment. I've been advertising that you guys are running 9 regular season races and then 6 playoff races, not realizing that you're actually running the 10 regular season races and 5 playoff races. So we've reached the halfway point. You talk about those races coming up. How much does that extra race added onto the regular schedule? What does that do for a driver? Does it put more pressure on you, knowing that there's more races that you need to be consistent in? Or is it nice to have the luxury of that extra regular season race just in case there's some points you need to gain back from a poor run?
Oh man, I'm telling you, it's gonna be lots of pressure because I have more bad races than good races. I finished. Hey, Mikey.
Hi, I'm back.
What?
I went to talk to Josh. You
Can
continue
we
your
talk?
interview. You continue your interview. I'm not here.
Hey, Michael. Can you tell us what happened during that the end of the stage? What was the strategy going on? Can you tell us something? I am Ulysses, the in-race reporter, interviewing you.
Seth, I think you just lost your
Someone
job.
stole my job. Oh, well.
Okay, well, it was just trying to get to as far as we could go. I knew that we were gonna be really close, and I forgot that it was gonna be 33 to 34. So when we were on lap 33, I was like, let's just come in and pit and get out, and we did. So I got stage points for the first time, so I'm happy about it.
And Ulysses, if you want to take over Seth's job, we can only interview the top 3 finishers. Just let
Exactly.
You know from here on
That's
out.
why I said you continue, not me.
All right, I can interview the chicken because because my friends Dog and Pat were saying, but Ulysses, you gotta be doing something goofy because there's no way that you are driving better, you do good qualifying laps, something's gotta going on. I think Garland said you're driving, so the chicken is driving this time because. And I told him the last few weeks I finished 30th, and this time that the chicken dropped, he put me in third. I think he dropped the season opener, so I'm gonna bring the chicken. He can drive better than I do.
Well, there you go. Guess we got ourselves a driver swap here in the 096. But Ulysses, congratulations. Great run for you here tonight. You gained a ton of points, both with the halfway stage and the overall finish this evening on the podium. Before we let you go, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
No, well, first of all, a big shout out to my mom, Mama Sandoval. Yesterday it was her birthday, and a big shout out to my sister Melanie, who she graduated today. This afternoon she graduated, so we have a bunch of days of celebrations. A big shout out to my family, and also to Team Wrecking Ball. These guys helped me a lot. And, not only we share a strategy with each other, but on pit stops, but they have given me a lot of insight on how to drive, on how to use my wheel, how to drive. The guys Nick Gunter taught me how to wheel this thing. Sean gave me this. Sean gave me this wheel. Michael taught me how to hot pit and all that stuff, and Garland taught me how to do gambles. So a big shout out to you guys. And how about you, Mikey? You got any shout outs?
Me? Oh, I just happened to get back. Yes.
I love
shout
you,
out,
Ulysses.
Mr. Sam's spray wax. Thank you. Being your potential spotter / crew chief there, Ulysses. Giving each other information back and forth. And I'd like to thank Seth Cole for just being Seth Cole. Kyle, you two, and Blaine, keep being you guys.
Is this the first time the third place guy's ever interviewed the 25th place guy?
I can't remember that ever happening before.
I think we've lost control of this broadcast.
Listen, to be fair, I was not planning on talking, just coming back to hang out until he said something.
I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone or something here. But
what about me, Michael? Do you want me to be me? I can be myself.
Yes, Ulysses, always be you.
Yeah.
Well, Ulysses, congratulations on the great run here tonight. Best of luck going forward here, these final 5 races of the regular season, as you look to solidify yourself a spot in the playoffs. Try and get those couple spots better, maybe next week in Park and Victory Lane.
See you guys.
Ulysses Sandoval, third place here tonight. And just for those wondering, I've met him. Yes, he is as much fun in real life as you hear him here in TeamSpeak. Always have a blast with Ulysses. Let's see if we can now dial up the driver that brought home second place here tonight. Let's get a hold of Greg Lovell. Hey, Greg, it's the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Seth, what's going on, bud?
I'll tell you what, nail biter here tonight. We didn't know just how crazy that final lap was going to be. Seeing drivers running out of fuel on the final half lap of this race. You were sitting in a good position, managed to make your way through that wreck over in turn 3, and then you're behind the 28 coming through the tri-oval. It looked like Mark was running out of fuel. If you weren't behind him, if you'd been to his outside, did you have the fuel to get to the line and maybe had won this race?
Yeah, I was good to go on gas. I just, when they scattered out there, man, I was going to go high, and it kind of scared me because I thought I was going to wreck Mark there, and I said, well, you know, finishing second is going to really help me in the point standing, so I'm just going to stay with him and help him. So that's what I did.
Yeah, you mentioned about getting those valuable points in the overall standings. You missed a race earlier on this season, but now back-to-back top fives over the course of the last 2 weeks, the fourth last week, and the runner-up here tonight. You came into this race 26th in the standings. So how good does this feel to have those points kind of distance yourself from that 30th in the standings cut line? Not only that, I mean, the season's still young. We still have ourselves another 5 races to go in the regular season, so opportunity to be able to move yourself up into the top 16 in one of those playoff spots.
Oh yeah, it feels real good, man. You know, that's what I shoot for, Seth, is top 5s, top 7s. You know, that's wins are good too, but you know, you can always work yourself up through the standings just having good top 5s too. You don't always have to win races, you know. If the guys leading up in the points have a bad night, you know, you can and you finish real good, you can gain a lot of points on them. So you just don't never know.
Tonight was really interesting. Obviously, this is the first season that they've implemented the halfway stage points. We not only ended up seeing a fuel strategy gamble for those halfway stage points, but obviously for the overall race here tonight as well. How much fun, how challenging was that as a driver trying to crunch the numbers to make sure that you ended up being able to cross the start-finish line top 10 at halfway point, and then, of course, be in the conversation late in this race as well?
Well, I didn't know we was that close to the halfway point, or I would have probably stayed out another lap. But I pitted too early, man. I was like, daggone it. And they was talking about it. But everybody went in, you know, as far as the, you know, the top guys that was running up in the top 10. So I said, well, if I don't pit with them, I might end up losing them. So I pitted with them. But I got bonus points last week because I finished 4th. I didn't get any tonight, but second place will really help. So I should move up in the top at least 16 or something. I hope.
Looking at the point standings right now, obviously I don't know if they've calculated in the stage points, but you sit 18th in the standings right now, gaining 8 spots with the runner-up finish here tonight. So congratulations on a job well done, being able to not only gain those stage points, but also be able to get some great overall points with your finish this evening as you look to make a push for a playoff spot. Still half the regular season left to go. Greg, we'll give you the opportunity now for some thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys, FRN, for coming over here. And I'd like to thank Blaine. Is Blaine here too? Or was he? Yeah, Blaine's in here.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Blaine, for coming over here with Seth. And y'all do a great job. I'd like to thank all the admins at RTZ, Sean Prime, and Josh Metallic, and Rodney, and Brian Schilling. There's so many of them. I don't know who all. Jeremy Jeffries, Tim Oscar, Josh Metallic. There's all kinds of them here, but thank all the admins, and this is a great place to race at, man. I always have fun here. I'd like to give a shout out to PRL. That's my main league I race at. I'd just like to give a shout out to all the leagues out there, man. That's what's keeping the game going. Without them, we wouldn't be here.
Well, Greg, congratulations on the great run for you here tonight. Second place at Talladega, gained some spots in the standings, and hopefully this is a sign of good, consistent things to come as you look to keep this top 5 streak going heading into the second half of the regular season.
Me too, man. And I'd like to congratulate Mark on the win there. Good win, Mark.
Greg Lovell, your runner-up finisher here this evening. Blue Ovals Fords finishing first and second, with the Toyota of Lissy Sandoval in third. Let's dial up that second Ford that has been pushed finally to victory lane, was completely out of fuel. Let's dial up tonight's race winner, Mark Paglia. Hey, Mark's the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I do. I see you got a bunch of people in the broadcast booth tonight.
Do indeed. Well, welcome back to victory lane, my friend. I know that this season's kind of been up, down, up, down. You came into this race 14th in the point standings. Been a long winless streak for you. You snap it here tonight, but boy, did it come down to close, because it looked like, at least visually, this 28 was running out of fuel, crossing the line to take the checkers.
You're exactly right. It was what it looked like. I was running out of juice, and the two cars in front of me, Brian Schilling and especially Chuck, I knew Chuck was running out of gas, so it got a little bit messy there at the end.
We knew that obviously with the timing of where that final pit stop was going to be, that drivers were probably going to gamble. We didn't know how much. How confident were you when you were looking at the numbers there coming to 3 to go, 2 to go, the final lap, that you were going to have enough momentum to be able to win this race? Or were you kind of stuck in no man's land with drivers in front of you had they not run out of fuel?
Well, I was watching the laps. You know, when you're driving, you can see what the projected is and how many there actually is to go. And I was always running out going into turn 3 and turn 4. So I tried to save a little bit more. And I thought, if I have a really good push going into the tri-oval and then run out of gas, I think I'll be okay. But then Chuck had a little bit of trouble with his gas, and he had to try to get out of the way, and I just went low, and I got Greg Lovell behind me. I think he pushed me a little bit, and thanks to him and thanks to Ulysses for a clean finish there. They could have made it ugly for me at the end.
You're going to be heading into the second half of the regular season, 9th in the point standings, the victory in your hip pocket, locking you into the playoffs. What does this do now for your racing mentality for these final 5 races of the season? Do you look to add on more bonus points with more victories? Do you focus more on the stage points? Is it more consistency based? Because you get a little bit of freedom now having the race victory.
Well, don't think I'm going to try to change strategy at all. Having that halfway stage point thing is really a lot of fun. I think it gives you something to shoot for during the race instead of just riding around. It gives you a little inspiration to get up front in the middle of the race. And I'm just going to keep trying to, stay clean. Like had a little incident in pit road. Tim and I got together a little bit, but I don't think they'll call that on me. I hope they don't. But other than that, I think I'm just going to try to stay safe and try to run up front as much as I can.
A few weeks ago, we saw Kelly Causey snap a winless streak, and we could hear the relief in his voice. I can almost hear that as well for you. What is, as far as taking a weight off of your mind, a weight off of your shoulders, the pressure of trying to get back to victory lane after it's been such a long time since the last time?
It is a relief, and it just gives you a little bit more confidence in, having such a tough couple last seasons. You start to doubt yourself. You don't think that you're as good as those guys that consistently win, that maybe you shouldn't be in the same track as those guys. But when you get a win in there, then you almost feel like you belong. So it's a relief, and it's just a little inspiration that know that you belong. So it helps a lot.
Well, Mark, congratulations on the great performance here tonight, having just the right amount of fuel to get you across the start finish line first and pick up the checkered flag here this evening. We'll let you get back to your celebrating here in a moment, but first, the floor is yours for Victory Lane. Thank you, sponsors, and shout-outs.
Well, like most other drivers, I thank the admins here. Josh puts a lot of work, so does Rodney and Tim, and into our Thursday nights, and Jeremy, he's kind of taken the whole reins after the a poor situation with Bones a while back. So, those guys do an awesome job to keep this a premier place to race on Thursday, and I really appreciate it. And thanks to Chuck McClure and Brian Schilling, because they worked with me and kind of pulled me along those last few laps at the end. So I don't think I'd been there if they hadn't been there. And in kind of the middle of the race, I was working with Greg Palmer. He and I got together, and we, stayed in the pack. So the two of us worked well in the mid-race part of that. So, but thanks to everybody at RTG, and thanks to all my teammates.
Well, Mark, once again, congratulations on the job well done here tonight. You become the 5th different winner on the season. Lock yourself up a spot in the playoffs as well. Congratulations and best of luck here in these final 5 races of the regular season as you now get yourself ready for postseason form. Well,
I appreciate that. And I'm going to say goodnight to the other guys I see listed on TeamSpeak with Kyle and Michael and Blaine, and to you, Seth. You always do a great job. Thank you.
Well, appreciate it. That's Mark Paglia. He's in victory lane here tonight, his first win of the season. Congratulations once again.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Be the first time that a Ford goes to victory lane here tonight as well.
It was almost me a couple 68. Of races ago.
It was. That's true.
So, curious. And Seth, you've been calling races here longer than I have been racing. So, I got a hypothetical question for you, and I want your honest opinion on how you think it would have went down. Okay?
Okay.
So if, let's just say I saw what was coming, I decided to go to the inside, because that's what I was originally thinking was, crap, I see the 77 coming, let me go down to the inside. And so what would have happened if I saw what was happening, lifted, went on the apron, got back in the gas, drove around almost everybody that happened? Do you think they would have called that?
As far as passing under the yellow line?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Because I was down the backstretch.
I think the ruling is you can go down there if you're avoiding a wreck.
Because down the backstretch, I was like, I need to go to the inside because they were 3 wide and everything like that. I'm like, but I'm like, no, let me stay to the outside just in case. And that's when I saw everybody start slowing down. I start drifting downwards a little bit, hoping I could squeeze through. And I was like, well, if I would have went to the inside, what if I would have just went up to the apron and passed everybody? Like Denny Hamlin did to Matt DiBenedetto.
If they were wrecking and you were down there, I think you probably would have been fine, because I think there were a number of drivers that actually had to go down to the apron to avoid the wreck.
Yep, and I've got some stuff to talk about with you guys up here, but I'll do that after we finish.
All right, well, Kyle, I asked you the question when we kicked off the night. This was essentially the rubber match race between what we'd seen in the first 4 races, whether we would end up seeing a bit of a survival fest, drivers having to pick the right places to avoid the wrecks when and if they happen, or if it was going to come down to pit road strategy and execution. I guess the answer was both.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think it ended in a draw right there, because we saw a little bit of both. Couple of incidents early on in the race, 1 caution, and then we saw, I think we had 2 more cautions after that. But it also came down to pit strategy as well.
It's going to be really interesting to see what the brackets look like heading into next week. There is a change at the top of the overall point standings as well. Second straight week, Josh Metallica seemed to find himself in the right place at the right time and been able to skate his way through the final wreck. He brought it home in the 3rd position, or make that 4th position here tonight, and he will head into the second half of the regular season as the overall points leader. 10 points in hand over Grant Wesley and former points leader Tim Nofsker. And we still sit right now with only 63 points separating the entire top 16 in the overall standings. We know that the top 16 in points will fight for a championship within the next 5 weeks. But a lot of points changes with drivers ascending and descending through the overall points in this final race of the first half of the season.
By the way, Seth, also another fun fact, looking at the Tally Challenge, the thing that shows you what the actual points that you look at are, I, 7th place and up, are the only ones so far to have completed every lap so far this season.
That is incorrect.
It
says Cody Lamas down in 20th has also completed every lap.
Oh, well, that's fair. Okay, well then, only 8 drivers. Cody? So then only, because it didn't look that far down. Yes, that was also a dig at Cody Lamas.
But what a great race here tonight, kind of setting the tone for the home stretch now of the regular season. 5 different drivers have gone to victory lane. Do we maybe make it a perfect 10 for 10? We've seen that happen in the past.
Yes,
Would
we
not
have.
put that outside of the realm of possibility here this season. But we appreciate everybody tuning into our coverage here tonight of race number 5. Our congratulations once again to Mark Paglia on snapping a lengthy winless streak and finally breaking back into victory lane. Be sure to join us back here next Thursday night as we head into the second half of the regular season, the push towards the playoffs and the continuation of the bracket challenge as well. For Blaine Donlin, Kyle Matthews, Michael Norman, I'm Seth Cole. Thanks for joining us here tonight. We'll see you guys next week for the continuation of season 68 of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series on the Flat Out Racing Network and Tarnation TV.